I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I came to play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me, then I double up again, none of their knows. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Startup on the Blocks. Hello, Jasmine. How are you?
I am doing well, Lloyd. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic. I see you like that music there.
I did. You saw me grooving. I was like, hold on, let me get my little shimmy going.
Yes. So we're glad to have you here, and we welcome everybody out there in all the streaming locations from YouTube to LinkedIn to several Facebook pages and groups. So folks can really hear what you have to say tonight.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. And thank you, Lloyd, so much for having me be a part of the awesome community that you do and the work that you do. I'm grateful.
Yes, I'm excited too, and we keep pushing on, trying to get more and more stuff to help founders to kind of move forward with what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Yes, so we have Miss Jasmine Romaine here tonight, and so I'm going to start off with a little bit of introduction about Startup on the Blocks, and so Jasmine, you're going to join in with me here as I go through this little education about what we're doing, and so we can kind of get more people involved in this journey of building startups. And so you see that little Valentine thing up in the upper left-hand corner there?
I see it.
Yeah, and that's about a year old now. So they actually, I'm not sure how much money it's been set aside for Black and Brown founders. And so, when I did the research a year ago, it was over $5 billion to support Black founders.
Wow. My
Okay.
goodness, money's out there.
Yes, yes, and yes, all the major companies. I think after the George Floyd uh, murder, companies like SoftBank, I think they kicked it off with $100 million, and Google, came out with 100 million, and Apple, all these companies, just hundreds of millions. PayPal over 500 million. Uh, Bank of America, like over $1 billion over the next few years. And so there's just a lot of incentives out there. If you're a Black founder and you want to succeed, and and what we're here for is to kind of get you prepared. So when you put an application for a pitch contest that may be giving money out, or for a program that might be giving money out, we want you to know how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And so, Jasmine, that's where you come in at for tonight,
Absolutely.
just to kind of help folks. And so that's kind of Startup on the Blocks. I participated in a lot of programs for startups since, for the past 10 years. And it's just, some people don't realize, if you're building something that can scale out to a lot of users, the big companies will help you doing it. They'll provide you free service, plus provide you consultation on how to build what you're trying to build.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? This month, especially as we kick off Black History Month, there's so many different types of resources and grants that are going on. So this is such a great time for individuals. And it's great that we're kicking off with the value of communications. So as individuals are pitching what it is that they need, they could be able to get the funding to be able to have their startup just go all the way up with the things that they're looking forward to do with their goals.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so we have some sponsors and supporters, and so we couldn't do all this Startup on the Block stuff without them. And so we want to acknowledge them, because we do pitch competitions, so we need money for that. So Innisfree Hotels and the First Bank, they've been helping us out with that kind of stuff. And Gulf Power, we have a platform for startups, founders. And Gulf Power, we just got onboarded on that last week, and we're going to be onboarding our portfolio companies into that platform so they can learn all the lean startup methodology. And so and all those other folks out there like Bantucola, they're the ones that are streaming our stuff to Facebook, LinkedIn, and stuff like that. And the SBDC helps us out with mentors. The Chambers gives us free memberships for our pitch competition, first place winners. So it's just a lot of people joining in to support founders.
How awesome. How awesome. And I see a lot of them that I recognize too.
Oh, good. So like we've been at this for a while, and I think this is our 71st event. So we're excited, and we want to be here for founders. So on Thursday night, so they should know they can actually have a place where they can connect and learn. And so we have you here tonight, and so we're excited about you. And like I was telling you earlier, that's a beautiful black background you have there. I've never seen anything such gorgeous there, so that's pretty nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next week we're going to have Louis Newkirk, and he was on Startup on the Blocks as participating in an event last week, I believe, and he's he's been out there working in the industry, so he's a good marketing kind of guy, and he spent some time here in Pensacola as well as you, Jasmine. So we look forward to hearing from him and to help our founders again. So I think that's like the third marketing person we've had. So, but I think it's kind of good to kind of hear from different angles, so you can kind of move forward with your ideas. And Amira, she's another founder, so we always like to have founders on, so we can kind of listen to their story and their journey and how they got doing what they're doing. And so that's always educational to kind of see the different backgrounds of people that are participating in this kind of stuff. So we use this playbook here, Jasmine. It's basically a kind of a guide that uh, founders can use to, if you're new to the
Mm-mm.
the startup world, you need to kind of understand, where to go, what's the startup stuff it's all about. So we have this playbook, so you can kind of lead you down the right path. First thing you have to get your mindset, um, how to be a founder in the startup world. So Sam Altman, he was one of the original folks that started up Y Combinator, and so and so he has a playbook. They're the most successful accelerator program. They've been out there since like 2005, and so they've seen every kind of startup it is, and so I'm pretty sure you're familiar with like Stripe or Lyft and those kind of companies like
Yes.
that. So they actually went through the Y Combinator accelerator program.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's how these companies get started. They get started with about like they do their product or service manually first, and make sure it works, and then they keep building on it and automating it, and to where now they're unicorns, multi-billion dollar companies. But in all these accelerator programs, they use the lean startup methodology, and the website leanstack.com has some resources on it, and that's the program that we have. We have all their playbooks, and so we will be onboarding our founders, and as we run these different cohorts, we'll have that stuff available for them as well.
Nice.
Yes, and so there's also a free startup school, startupschool.org, and that's a good thing to if you want to know what it's like to be a startup. You can actually enroll in that startup school. It's free of charge, and you can work on your own idea with it. But you actually get to firsthand knowledge on what it takes to be a founder and the process that you go through to kind of move forward. And there's a whole community of founders and people that you can connect with. Carlos, one of our portfolio company guys, startups, he's been participating in that, and he's been meeting people all over the world, and he's been having an opportunity to pitch his idea. And this next thing is f6s.com. So there's a bunch of sites out there for mentors. I mean, for founders, and so F6S is one of the ones that's been out there quite a while. I think I joined that back in 2014 or 15. And I'll show you that a little bit later. But they have all these pitch competitions, all the accelerator program, and they have a lot of freebies for founders.
Nice.
Yes, and so like millions of dollars worth of freebies for founders. All you have to do is build up your profile on that site, and then you can qualify for some of their partner opportunities there. And we recommend that you attend our weekly events, and that's the link to find out all the upcoming events. And we also send out a newsletter each week, and so that's where you can find out and connect with a lot of the resources that are out there. Locally, we just started this yesterday, the Startup Social. It was a big success, and so that's on the first Tuesday of each month, and we're going to be hosting it on the 5th of April. So that's a good event. If you're a new founder, you can actually come there and meet people and learn about the resources in the community. We also do office hours every Saturday from 1 to 3. And so I'm going to stop sharing that, and let's see can I get to another screen here? Okay, so this is the playbook, as I was talking about. This is our newsletter that we send out each week, and we have the playbook in there so people can actually be familiar with that. And then I said, take advantage of all these funding opportunities. So, and this is all founders can apply for any of these things. And like I have all these major companies there that have startup programs, and all these funded things down here that you can apply for. And there's a lot of confusion, on when to apply for what. So we're going to try to do a little bit better job in the future of breaking these up and to know which ones to apply for when, because it is a little confusing, all these different opportunities out there for founders. We have a category for veterans, and we have a category for founders of color, women founders, LGBTQ founders, nonprofits. So it's kind of, most people don't know they have accelerator programs for nonprofit. The sad news is I just got a turned down letter yesterday for a $25,000 accelerator program, but I've been applying, and I'm going to keep applying and figure out what it takes to get in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and a lot of some of these things you can see $100,000, but this particular one, it's just a bunch of stuff that's out there for nonprofits and for profit, type companies. And so work for some workforce things if you want to learn some new skills. And then these are just some communities that you can actually get involved in. These are some just for founders of color, women founders, and events, and so on and so forth. So, but that's just an idea of what the newsletter is like. So I wanted to highlight a couple of these things, and then we'll kind of get off this soapbox here. So Emerge Americas. So they have this is one of the opportunities in the link right now. So as a startup, you can apply to be in this particular showcase. So there are two of these things coming up. This one is coming up next month. There's one coming up. This is down in Miami. And so the way this particular showcase works is they had a criteria for putting in your application here, and so we got 3 tracks this time. When I participated in this particular program back in 2018, they had 4 tracks, and but as you can see, they got a track for students and early stage folks. So it looks like this one is a little bit. They want you to have an MVP, which is that's good, and so that's kind of thing. They want you to have minimum 2 full-time employees. So these are some harder criteria, to meet for this early stage one and then the Slater track one. So, but they're going to select 100 startups, and then if you get selected, they give you 4 tickets and they give you a booth that you can for a couple of days that people come around and see your booth, and then the judges come around and see your booth too. And then if they pick at least 10 companies in each category to pitch. And so, but isn't that pretty neat? You don't have to pay anything. If you get in.
That is amazing. I mean, I'm just in awe about all these resources just coming up. I mean, hey, there's no reason for anyone not to have the funding. So I'm excited to be here to be another resource for you all tonight.
Yes. And here's another one that's coming up on the 17th of this month. I just got the page here, but it's the Synapse Conference Summit 2020 now. So this one has a little bit easier thing. So for this one, you also get 4 tickets and a booth. You see what I'm saying? So you get to showcase your thing to investors and attendees.
That's so nice.
Yeah. So this is tell us what you're going to be exhibiting, and so this one, they say you can be pre-revenue or bootstrapping. So you don't even have to. So this is a nice category. So anybody can apply for this particular one.
Yeah. Free exposure already, even before you even bring in the coins.
Yeah, that's right. So like I won a pitch competition one time, and it was for 2017. It was for pre-revenue, and it was $25,000.
My goodness.
Yep. And so this is one of the resources that we feature in the newsletter. It's called Startup Rocket Framework, and it's a framework. So if you got an idea, it leads you from the idea all the way to an MVP. And we also offer this to our portfolio companies as well, free of charge.
Wow.
Yeah. So and then this is the F6S site I was telling you about. And so it says you can get financing, but there are a lot of accelerator programs for that. And then you see this thing here. It says 2.3 million in free deals.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, Amazon uh, has their deal is $30,000. You get $25,000 worth of Amazon Cloud credits and $5,000 worth of support to help you do, to help you get your cloud your application up in the cloud.
Wow. I mean,
Mhm.
all these resources right here. Take the time, pitch, get it out there,
Yep.
exposure. I'm here for it.
Oh, yep. So I could go on and on about this stuff. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing that. But there's plenty more stuff, and those links are in the newsletter, and those are just a sampling of the opportunities out there. There are a lot of in there just for females, Black females, veterans, all founders. There's just so many opportunities to kind of move forward. So Jasmine, let's talk about you a little bit. So would you like to take a few minutes to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to just thank you for sharing all the value that you give to your communities here on the startups. They have a block of resources with you. There's no doubt about that. And I was even
Mhm.
learning myself. So I'm like looking, I'm like, ooh, this is nice. I'm liking it. So I'm definitely happy to be another resource just as well. So, a little bit about myself. I am a motivational speaker. I'm also a speaker coach, transformation strategist, and I like to call myself a world changer. So, Lloyd, because you have me here, I believe that I'm always connected to world changers. You're one too, and the whole community is one just as well, because I truly believe that as you start up something, you really give towards the world, even if you realize it or not, because you're able to now have a product that can change someone's life. And to me, that
Yes.
makes a world changer. So I've worked in communications for decades. I started off in radio broadcasting and then in public relations. So when it comes to pitching, let me just tell you, I am the queen of pitching. I also have an international best-selling book called Speak to Profit: How to Speak with Confidence and Jazz Up Your Sales.
Fantastic.
I believe, Lloyd, that when you're communicating your pitch, that it doesn't have to be so intense, that you can
Yes.
really have the freedom and be your authentic self. And so that's what I want to bring here tonight for you all, is how you can still have your pitch together, how you can bring that home run in so you can get the funding you need and really accelerate into the goals and the mission that you have. So this is me. I love what I do as a communications maven, and just being able to speak and articulate. So I look forward to sharing the gems and stories with you tonight.
Fantastic. And so, what kind of, well, I always like to let people know how we connected. And so, I think you were attending one of our Pensacola network events, and so we met, through that. So, we haven't ever actually met in person,
No.
even though you were here in Pensacola at one time, I understand.
I am. I am a proud Argo. So University of West Florida. I am a proud Argo. So yes, I used to live in Pensacola, Florida, and yes, we met here in what I call like these online streets these days. Everyone's out here
Mhm.
online. So I'm now based in Florida, but it's so great to still be able to be virtually in Pensacola, sharing within the community the resources.
Yes, and we're most excited to have you here. Yes. So what did you actually major in college?
Yeah, so when I was at UWF, I studied communications. That was my
Okay.
big thing. I was like, I'm going to be a radio personality. We're going to have a fusion of Wendy Williams and Oprah. Don't ask me how that was going to be, Lloyd. I was going through a imposter syndrome at that moment. I was like, I want to give a car, but then I want to say, how you doing, and be myself. I don't know. It was a fusion, but I wanted to do that. So I studied communications, and I have my minor in marketing. So that
Oh,
marketing genome comes out every now and then. So you were mentioning your speakers for next week. I was like, ooh, I might touch in a little bit in too, just as well, just because
mhm.
it's all communications and you brand it effectively as well. So that's what I studied.
Yeah. And it almost sounded like from what you said that you had this idea you wanted to be in radio, you wanted to be in communications, and before you even started college.
It was. And I remember being on the university, to call it the green. I was on the green. And in my mind, when you were mentioning mindset for the founders, I was like, oh, yes, that's key, Lloyd, because you have to have that mindset. I remember crossing the green on campus, and I was saying in my mind, I said, I'm going to be the CEO of my own communications firm. And I did not know that it would literally take me into a divine reinvention where I would be doing what I do today.
Fantastic, fantastic. All righty. Well, we're going to let you get rocking and rolling because I'm excited to hear what you have to say as well.
Awesome. Well, you be excited. I'm going to get you jazzed as well. So that way we can have everyone jazzed up in here.
All right. And the audience, get ready. You have your questions ready. You can start populating your questions. So when time for question and answers, we can kind of get those done. So go right ahead, Jazz. It's all yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Lloyd. It's a pleasure to be here. And to all the startups who are on this blog, I am so happy to be able to speak with you. I came virtually all the way to Pensacola, the Gulf Coast, just to not only get you all jazzed for the value of communications, but for you to also understand the art of how to speak and pitch so you can get the funding you need. Now, I am a woman who loves to talk to a certain person, right? But I want to find out, before I find out who I'm exactly talking to, who I'm speaking to up in here, because I know you're startups, but each and every single one of you all have a different mission. And one thing I noticed about this particular season that we're in is that either people are going to make, especially those who are in the startup world or entrepreneurship world, or even in the business world, should I say, they can either make excuses or they can create opportunities. And because you all are startups, I just know I'm talking to a whole bunch of individuals who are there to make the opportunities. But I want to know in the comments who all I'm talking to. How many of you all, by a type in the comments, are those who are really starting your startups because you really wanted the freedom to be able to move how you want it to move in your startup companies or even in your personal lives, because it all goes hand in hand together. So if you're looking for freedom, go ahead and type that in the comments, whether you're live or watching the replay just as well. How many of you all, I want to know, are looking not only for freedom, but maybe you're looking just to be able to have that fulfillment? If you're looking for fulfillment in your role as a startup, go ahead and type that in. I mean, that means you have the fulfillment of really bringing your ideas together, putting all of it in, so that way you can be able to showcase what makes it easier for others. Maybe that big product that you have just as well that can now be as easy for others. If you're looking for that fulfillment, type that in the comments as well. And then you know what? We're going to go ahead and just ask this one. And if you have more than one, that's cool. You can be greedy and get a little bit more. Maybe you want freedom and fulfillment. But what if you're looking for fun? You want to just have fun in life. And that idea that you have for your startup company is something that you are just like, hey, you know what? I want to have fun. I want to live a joyous life. I don't want to have the stress. And I want to be able to actually be able to promote what I want to promote. So that way, when I'm having a startup, it's not only helping me in my startup world life, but also helping me in my personal life as well. So if you're looking for fun, go ahead and type that in as well. Maybe you want all three. If you do, hey, I'm not mad at you. Go ahead and have it. And I believe that in here, from what I can see and what I feel in my heart, that many of you all want freedom. Many of you all want fulfillment, and many of you all want fun just as well. And if that is you, I just know I'm speaking to the right people tonight, and I'm so excited to be here. Or maybe I should just say I'm jazzed. I'm jazzed to be here. I see you, Quinn. You're like, I'm here for all three, and I'm glad you are here for all three just as well. So, you know, I'm happy that I'm speaking with you because I now know that I'm talking to world changers, and I call you all world changers because I believe that if you're looking for the fulfillment, you're looking for freedom, or you're looking for fun, you really have the heart and passion of what it really takes to be a person who is in the startup industry. And now you're looking for more opportunities, right? Maybe you're looking to get out there and get more funding for your company, or perhaps you're getting out there and you're like, hey, I want to pitch and actually bring more consumers in for my business. But each way, I truly believe that you are in the right place. And that's why I'm really excited about teaching you the value of communications and how you can be able to leverage using the art of communications to really bring in whatever it is you need. Maybe you need funding. Maybe you need to have a marketing campaign, or perhaps you even want to bring in more customers. The art of communications can do just that. Now, I had the awesome opportunity when I was speaking with Lloyd to tell you all a little bit about who I am. I shared with you that I've worked in radio for over a decade. That was my zone. So you might hear the voice come in and out every now and then. But then I also had the opportunity to work in public relations. And during my time as working in communications, one of the biggest things that I've noticed was there are certain ways that you pitch, and there are certain ways that you communicate that still get your message across effectively. Now, one of the things that I want to share with you tonight that's going to be so big is going to help you not only to have the confidence as you're sharing the value of your communications, but it's also going to help you to jazz up your sales. And I like to say jazz up your sales because I don't believe that any startup person should have to stress when it comes to pitching. I believe we should have home runs and put the seed that we need to be able to blossom just like these flowers behind me, so you all can get out there and really make those legacy moves. So I have 3 points for you all tonight. And I'm not going to come with a PowerPoint because number one, it's almost 9 o'clock here Eastern Standard Time, and Jasmine just doesn't have time for that. But what I want you to do is take notes so that way you can have this handy. And I feel it's something that's so powerful when you write it down that it sticks better. So while I go through these points for you all, I want you to write it down. And that way, when you have questions, you can ask those questions to me, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you just as well. Now, I remember when I started off, I wasn't a startup like many of you all, but hey, maybe there are some startup ideas inside of me, but I started as an entrepreneur. And I remember when I was going on campus, that vision of myself, even wanting to be a CEO of my own communications company, came in my head. And as I was going on that green at the University of West Florida, one of the biggest things that I knew I needed to do was implement. But can I be really honest with you all? Can I just be transparent for just one moment? I remember when I graduated from college, things were not easy. It was a hard knock life, and I did not know what I was going to do. I ended up working a corporate job, and that corporate job really didn't give me the fulfillment. It didn't give me the fun that I was looking for, and I really didn't feel freedom just as well. And I remember in that very moment, I knew there had to be something that I needed to do to change. So I decided that I was going to go for my master's degree, and I got my master's degree at Full Sail University in entertainment business to continue to pursue my radio dreams that I had. And I moved to Concrete Jungle, New York City. I didn't realize that Concrete Jungle, New York City had that name for a reason. And it was a little bit more things that I had to do to be able to make it there. But they told me if I could make it in New York, I could make it anywhere. And I wanted to do that. But as I was going through some things, I realized that I wasn't getting a lot of opportunities that I wanted. But I want to share with you all one big thing that allowed me to really be able to push towards not only being able to have clients, it also pushed me to have sponsorships. It also pushed me to be able to market. And even in some cases, when I was pitching, I would always be able to close sales. And that was the value of communications. Somebody type that in the comments right now. The value of communications. So one day when I was looking to continue to pay my rent in New York City, I realized that I had to be able to do something else to help me build. And that's probably where many of you all have started before. You saw there was a need, maybe in a place for the business world, but for me, it was a need for me to be able to just pay rent on a day-to-day basis. So I realized in that very moment to use my skills as a consultant and start training. And I remember in New York City, I started talking to individuals and speaking to them. But see, in New York, a lot of individuals are pitching. Whether you're on the train, whether you are walking, it's just pitches everywhere. So, what will make you different is understanding the value of communications. And I believe, too, for you as startups, this is going to be the same thing that's going to help you to be different just as well. It's going to help you to stand out so you won't sound like you're just pitching, but where you can actually pitch and jazz up your sales with a technique that I utilize that actually helps people to know what it is that you offer, but still allow you to bring in opportunities with ease. So whether it's funding, whether it is looking for additional opportunities for clients, or perhaps even getting that product pushed out, you're able to get out there and really position yourself. I'm going to share with you 3 big things that I learned in New York City as I was sharing my own value of communications. And even today, as I teach my own clients how to do the same thing. And number 1 that I'm going to share with you so you can stand out with your pitch is to make sure that you're being your authentic self. I know it sounds so simple, but it is such a challenge for so many individuals. I remember when I was starting off my radio career, I wanted to be a Wendy Williams and an Oprah Winfrey infused together. I wanted to give people cards and have the philanthropy spirit, but then I also wanted to say, how are you doing? And actually be able to have that fun, charismatic type of personality for people. But one of the things that I realized was, number 1, it was very hard for me to be like an Oprah Winfrey. And number 2, it was hard for me to be like a Wendy Williams. So the imposter syndrome was coming. And what I realized was it was so much easier to be Jasmine Romaine. And I say that for you all as startup companies, that even for yourselves, as you are positioning yourself to pitch, as you are positioning yourselves to sell your products or even get in front of those vendors where you have those booths finally, that you can actually be able to be yourself. So that way you won't have to feel like I have to be just like this person for me to get the funding that I need. But that your differentiator factor is going to be something that's going to be very unique and not just playing by the funding or what the benefits are of your company, but really knowing who you are just as well. And I believe for so many people, as you start embracing the authenticity, that's what's going to be able to help you even more as you propel and get the funding that you need. And it's going to allow you to stand out. So everyone type in the number 1 thing or take notes, whatever you choose, that the number 1 point for you to be able to get out there and understand the value of communications is to really understand how you can be your authentic self. We're trained in a society today that we always have to be like someone. I know during my time, the whole phrase in the advertising phrase was gotta be like Mike. And everybody wanted to be like Mike, whether it was to buy his shoes or just to have this persona that you were just too awesome, right? So what if you could just be yourself? Be just like you, and that would actually allow you to have your breakthroughs that you really needed with your startup company, with your personality, and something that would really make you stand out. Just imagine going to a conference and a place where you're actually able to pitch what your startup company is all about. People are hearing pitches all the time, but something about you will make you totally different. Well, that's what it is. Being uniquely you is being able to embrace all of who you are. We looked earlier today and we saw that there's different types of funding for African Americans. There are different types of funding when it comes to being Latina or being Latino. It was different types of funding for the community, Native Americans. Like it's so much different types of things you can be able to get. But one of the biggest things that you can do is embrace who you are, and the funding can come to you as a creator and then also as a startup. So understand who you are and how you can be your authentic self. The second point that I want to share with you all on tonight that's going to really help you when it comes to your pitching is to own your story. I say that because what I've noticed, even as myself, when I remember when I was pitching for different opportunities for my company, there were things that I wanted to say that was just relating to the company general. Like, oh, yeah, my company does this. I can help my clients do this. And yes, we want to know the transformation. But there was a story and a reason why I even started that company. So people didn't even know that one. But one of the biggest things is really owning your story. Imagine if your pitch is not just a pitch of, oh, I need funding because of this, and we need this, and we need this, but really having that heartfelt story that goes with it. Maybe for you, you started your company or your startup company because maybe after seeing the economic downfall, you decided that there was something out there that could really help people even more. And when you have that personal story that connects, you are now able to connect with people why the real reason you started this company. See, one thing about funding and one thing I noticed about pitching is you can be able to have a pitch, but one that sticks is when you're able to connect with the individuals. Just think about it when you see different types of pitching competitions. One of the biggest things that they love to share is that personal story. What was that personal story that had that particular moment? Exactly, Carlos. Everyone has a story. So when you're able to own your story and share it with your individuals, this is what's going to allow you to stand out. This is what's going to now allow you to be authentic. And this is what's now going to allow you not to just be a pitch, but to really have heart on who your company is all about. Think about big brands such as Apple. We know the story, the brand story that goes with Apple. Think about the big brand stories that go with young brands, companies. They all started off, and I'm sure many of them needed funding. Oh, and my favorite from young company is KFC. If you think about it, he really had a story that went with his branding just as well. He was really, really quite seasoned in his age, but then also he never gave up. And because he never gave up, he wanted to have an awesome chicken that I still eat today, and maybe some of you all just as well. But all of this and more allow people to connect on a different basis. And then he started telling the benefits of what the KFC does. It's finger looking good, right? But all of this allowed people to have a story that connect. And it's your stories that's really going to bring that pitch to that next level. So as you're pitching, as you're finding out what works for you with your pitch, whether it's a 30-second or even a 60-second pitch, that you'll really still be able to hone in on your story. When I wrote my book, Speak to Profit, How to Speak with Confidence and Jazz Up Your Sales, one of the biggest things that I really go after is the owning part of your story. What is your story? How can you be able to get really vulnerable and tell the individuals, your audience, what it is that you're looking for when it comes to your story? I tell you one thing, you'll be a spotlight, but then it'll also be the seed to your funding that will allow you to get more opportunities out there. So own your story. I remember the first time I was in New York City and I was salsa dancing. I'm a very high energetic type of person. It's the reason I like to jazz things up. And I remember while I was sharing with a particular individual while I was at the bar, I was getting a Shirley Temple, might I say. And as I'm at the bar with this individual, I'm communicating with her and I'm just telling her about my personal story. I believe this conversation was like only a minute or two long because I had to get on the dance floor and shimmy a little bit. And I remember as I'm telling the story with her, one of the things that she said right at the end was, "How can I sign up for your classes?" Now, was I pitching to her? No. See, I believe that pitching will just look salesy. But when you have the story, that connects on a whole nother level. I ended up making a sale just by telling a story, telling what I do, and then still being able to make a sale while I was salsa dancing and getting a bar drink of my Shirley Temple at the bar. I say that to tell you all that you all will have a story that will still be able to get you the funding that you need. So you can be able to stand out in a unique way and really be able to draw off your strengths from it. The third point that I want to share with you all tonight, and I really want to make sure that you all are super clear on this one, is to really understand your value. And I believe that as you are sharing your value, that people will hear your value. As startup companies, one of the biggest things that you all have is the value of what your product or service is. Whether it is what it can do that nobody else can do, or whether it is really being able to understand the differentiator factor that goes along with it. Each and every single one of you all has that value. So, how are you sharing that value even in your pitch? Now, I love powerful statements that come off a little bit different than just a pitch, but there is a way that you can still share value. And many times when you're pitching, you have like 30 seconds or 60 seconds to make this pitch, but you still have to share the value. What is that transformation moment that will happen when somebody gets a hand on your product? When someone gets a hand on that service that you can offer? See, if you're looking to be able to have your startup company partner with different types of companies or get funding, you're going to have to speak to the value. So, what is value exactly? I'm going to share with you. The value could be necessarily, or not necessarily, but it could be sharing the transformation that can happen. What happens to these different individuals when they experience your product? Are they feeling joy? Is there an emotion that is attached to them? See, the value of communications isn't just talking about the numbers that go with it. It's talking about the emotion that can go with it as well. As a result of your product, are people now more happier? Are they transformed differently? Because you all are in business for a reason. You all have your startups for a reason. But there's a value that comes with it that can change a whole atmosphere. I'm sure when many people go to KFC chicken, I don't know why I'm on KFC tonight, but it's just going to be how it is. But when many individuals go to KFC chicken, they're looking for that Southern type of appetite, right? And then they were looking for that Southern type of taste that goes with their taste buds. There are tons of chicken places out there. Go to Popeyes. If you're living in Los Angeles, you can go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. If you're going other places, it's just tons of chicken places. And I'm probably sure somewhere out in Pensacola, Florida, that you know of that you're like, I could go there too, right? But what makes them different is the value that they share. Maybe some of them now have what they call the impossible chicken, right? Or maybe they have that Southern delight. It's value because now it can help individuals who are looking to change their health and eat Southern delights, but still be healthy because they had the chicken. So knowing how to communicate it and share value is really what's going to do. Trust me, Ronald, I'm hungry too. This is what happens when it's late. I start talking about food. But all of this now is really sharing the value. So what value do you bring for your starter? I want you all to type in the comments. If you could share one word of the value that you bring with your startup company, I want you to share that. Because I'm sure once you share that one word, that your startup can bring, I'm sure there's a story within it. I'm sure that there is more that comes with it. It's a transformation. Is it the value that you bring of happiness, joy? Is it an emotion that is attached to it? Is it the acceleration that can happen with it? All of this and more is something that is really, really deep for so many individuals to see. But you have to position it for value. Can you get the funding that you need? Yes, when you articulate the value. Are you able to bring in the customers and get sponsorships and the things that you desire with this startup to help it to grow? Yes, when you share the value. And are you able to jazz up your sales where you don't have to stress, but you can really just pinpoint the value part of it to be able to bring in those opportunities that you're looking for when you share the value. So all of this and more is an art, but it brings in every single thing to be able to share not only value, but to see how you can be able to have a close on your sales. Sales happen every day. Pitches are every single day, whether you're a startup or whether you're not. Carlos says his is inspiration. That is value. Do you know how many people out here need inspiration? Do you know how many people out here could use that value of inspiration during the times that we're living in? That is a huge value. Ronald says connecting businesses and people. There are so many different things that you can utilize when you connect businesses and people together. People are looking for community. So if you can put that together and connect the dots for people, that is something that they look for. So all of this and more, and every single one of you all have some type of value that you're able to share. And I wanted to be able to tell you all that value part. When I work with my world changers all the time, one of the biggest things that I love to share with them is really how they can understand how to take their pitch and make it their own. I call it a powerful statement. Just use that powerful statement, make them hungry for more. You talked about hungry yesterday or earlier, but now we're going to make them hungry for more. Making those who are wanting to fund you hungry for more, making those who are looking for your products or service want you more just because of what it is that you have articulated. And when you use the value of communications, all of this and more brings it all together for people to start coming to you. I love this movie. It's called The Field of Dreams. And in this movie, there's this amazing guy. He has this deep voice. I can't think of it really quickly right now, but he says, the people will come. I truly believe the people will come. And they will come when you have the value of communications all in you. And that was Earl Jones Jr. or Earl Jones. We all know him, but he says that. The people will come. So when you have the value of communications, you're speaking, you're telling people the story, this is what will allow them to come to you. So I just wanted to come here, share with you all my 3 points that I've learned along my journey in New York City as I travel from different cities looking for my next opportunity. And then even as an entrepreneur who helps world changers just like yourself to be able to communicate their value so they can understand how to be their authentic selves. You don't have to be like anyone else. You don't have to be like how Jasmine was back in the day, my younger self, when I was trying to be two people. I like being me. So much easier. You don't have to try to be like anyone. It's just be you. And then when you own your story, know that your pitch has a story. And with that pitch, you're able to pull more people in and actually connect on a better basis because you have a story. When you're looking for the funding opportunities, they want to hear more of even your story and then also that value, right? And so you know about the value, which is at the end. And maybe that value for you is inspiration. Maybe it's connecting people. Maybe it's any of this stuff. But all of it and more is going to connect the dots for people to realize that you are in your company, your startup is that company and startup they need to invest in. So start dipping and start planting those seeds. Every single day, start learning exactly what you need to know how to communicate so you can be able to blossom where you have additional opportunities to funding. You can live that life of freedom, that life of fulfillment, and that life of fun that you're looking for. So I do have a gift for you all on tonight. I love having giveaways. And so for my gift that I would love to be able to give to you all is a tip sheet, and it's called Get Paid to Speak Tip Sheet. And you have 24 hours because I believe that action takers are the individuals who really, really allow themselves opportunities to get out there, whether it's funding or what have you. But in this tip sheet, you all will have what I utilize and what I tell my clients all the time on how they can be able to get profitable when it comes to their speaking, whether it's pitching or really getting out there. So just click the link where it says join Jasmine's list. It's my mailing list. And if you sign up within 24 hours, you will be able to get that free gift of the tip sheet. And so I'm just super excited. I hope that we can connect where you can visit my website or even social media and stay connected with me, but where you can really understand how you can get out there and position yourself for even more. I want to leave you all with this. I truly believe that as you start up your company and as you all are continuing to grow your companies, that you will make a huge change, not only in your communities, but even in the world. Because I believe that you're going to have that pitch that you need that will allow you to be able to get the funding and the opportunities to come about. That's going to allow you even more to get out there and take your businesses to that next level. You have it in you, the inspiration, the connection, everything you need. So now it's time to communicate the value so you can get out there and position yourself for greatness. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for getting out there and positioning yourself with the startup. So I see Ronald has a question. I'm open for questions and I'll be more than happy to answer. Looks like Ronald is saying, do you have a specialty in the communication field? So my specialty is really being able to train entrepreneurs, professionals on how to communicate their stories. So I consider myself like a communications maven. I take your story, I jazz it up. I take your pitches, I jazz it up so you can be able to have the sales and really position yourself for more opportunities. So that's really my specialty, is teaching you how to take your message from good to captivating. I just like jazzing things up. So I hope that answers your question. Anyone else have any additional questions?
I have a question.
Yes. Hi, Lloyd.
Hi, that was fantastic. I was glad Ron asked that question because in the startup world, uh, there are a lot of professional coaches like yourself. So I didn't realize when we met that you actually could actually you actually part of your business you actually work with individuals to with their pitches.
That is what I do. I work with them with their pitches. I use a different format than calling it a pitch because I'm known to jazz things up. But
Hmm.
technically, all in all, that's exactly what it is. It's just different verbiage that we use to pull those individuals in for opportunities.
Yeah. Do you also like like on a PowerPoint presentation or a pitch deck? Do you mess with that at all?
I do, depending on exactly what it is. One of the things that I like to be able to do is find the verbiage that will connect with their particular target audience. And so I do offer consultation. And depending on what their needs are, I can see how I can be able to assist to support their goals just as well.
Okay. Looks like Vercel has a question here.
Some Vercel says, do you consult on websites? Depending on what the website is, I usually offer like a consultation to see exactly what the need is. When you say websites, it could be the copywriting aspect. It just depends on exactly what it is. While I don't do the copywriting, I can lead and consult on how you can be able to maneuver. So if anyone is interested also in a consultation, my website has all of that. You can be able to schedule, it's called a breakthrough call, and that's the consultation call for you, okay? How can I connect and network with you? I am on all social media sites, Carlos. You can go to LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn address is J Romaine. So I have it in the chat room, I believe. And then also Facebook.com and Instagram just as well.
We'll get that up for you. We'll put that in the chat for you.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Mhm. All righty. So let's see. Any more questions out there?
Any more questions? Because I am here.
Yes. So, but yeah, I was excited to find out that you actually uh, work with founders or people who are trying to get their story and pitches um, correct. I think that's pretty neat.
Absolutely. It's my passion. My mission in life is to help others out there to communicate their standout message. So, others is including the startups, professionals, business entrepreneurs, corporate professionals. This is my zone. And so I love what I do.
Fantastic. That's really amazing. So I think you are definitely a big hit today with all this knowledge about communicating value. We were definitely glad to have you on here.
It was a pleasure, Lloyd. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on here just as well. I appreciate it.
So it looks like Patrick has another question there.
Do you know about 1 million cups? No, I'm not at this time aware of 1 million cups.
Yes, so I can tell you a little bit about that. So all over the country, I'm not sure about the world, but every Wednesday in different cities across the country, they have at 9 o'clock in the morning, they have 1 million cups. So it's like 1 million cups of coffee. It's where founders, people who have ideas, they come on and present their business idea. And
Nice.
so and then they get feedback from the audience, to but it's a friendly environment to kind of help that founder and connect them with resources that they need. They do it everywhere. um, Jacksonville, they do it here in Pensacola, Tampa, all Kansas City, Dallas. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah. So it's
Mm.
pretty fantastic. It's a great um, place for founders to kind of uh, get feedback on their idea.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing. So, Patrick, thank you for asking the question and for Lloyd answering it and telling me.
Yeah, so we had 1 million cups here yesterday, and so it was actually it was a doctor, which was kind of unusual to have a doctor come in, and he did a presentation on his idea for doing virtualized asthma care, and so
Oh,
but yeah, that's an example. And Carlos, he's here in the audience today. He's participated in that as well.
wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm so grateful I was able to learn about 1 million cups tonight too. So thank you all.
Oh yeah, as far as this startup ecosystem, there's just so many things out there. They're from like 1 million cup at the idea stage. Startup on the box. We work with people at the early stage, but no matter which stage you're at, there's help out there. And I often tell the story like earlier I showed the thing about Emerge Americas, and the first year that I went down there in 2017, I just was looking around because I had got an offer to go down there, and as I met people in that ecosystem down there, one of the last people I met, she was running a nonprofit that works with startups that are making 5 million to 10 million a year. So literally, you got people and organizations throughout your whole journey trying to help you succeed.
Nice. That's really great.
Yeah,
Look at all these resources are here. So startups on the blocks. Get on
yeah,
the block.
yeah.
That's
That's
awesome.
that's exactly right. So we want to thank you again for being here. Any parting words before we sign off here?
Oh, I just want to leave you all with this that many of you all have already the amazing ideas with your startups. So now it's time for you to just amplify your voices, amplify it with what it is that you offer, the value you offer. Don't forget your story so that way you can connect with individuals even more. And so if you all are looking to get out there, feel free to reach out to me. But one of the things I just want you all to know is that somebody needs your startup idea. And most of all, when you're pitching it's just going to be so amazing once you put all those foundations together. And I believe in you because I truly believe you all are world changers.
Yes, and I wanted to make one last comment here. I think a little over a year ago, we had a gentleman on. We call him the pitch master. So we're going to start calling you the pitch queen.
Thank you. I'll take my title.
All righty. So that's really fantastic. So we appreciate all that participated in the event today, and we look forward to our guests next week as well. And so come back and join us, and we'll be doing office hours this weekend from 1 to 3. So any of you startups out there want to connect with us, and we'll be glad to help out and answer your questions to help you move forward on your journey and learning how to tell your story, and being your authentic self and communicating value.
Yes.
All right, Jazz. Thank you so much, and we'll hope to continue to communicate and see you soon.
My pleasure. Have a great
All right.
one.
Bye-bye, everyone.